About this time of year, we're giving you reminders to put on a dormant oil to treat for insects or to treat for peach leaf curl. And we're still getting a lot of people commenting that they have the problems. Well, actually what it boils down to is we're still missing the right timing. And that really has to do with just looking at the buds of the various trees, because they'll tell you when the application needs to be put on. As a matter of fact, a lot of the materials that you'll get from the Extension Service base the spray schedule on the time of or stage of growth of the tree. For example, in the Extension Agent's Handbook, which the extension agents use plus the public can purchase, it has a spray schedule for home fruit sprays, and you'll see it tells you like a Dormant Spray, a Bloom Spray, a Shush Spray, various stages to put on your pesticide. Same with the home fruit spray schedule, fact sheet number 6235. If you'll open it up, it's broken down again onto certain times to put these applications on. So what I thought I'd do today is we'll take a certain fruit crop, which would be the peaches, nectarines, plums, and apricots, the stone fruits, because they're compared on their spraying as a similarity as far as the timing, and we'll actually show you pictures of when to put these applications on so you'll be prepared ahead of time and you won't miss the timing. Now the first one, we're going to show you a picture of what a dormant bud looks like, and I think that's really probably the easiest one. This is your Dormant Spray, and you'll look at the picture on the left is actually a dormant bud. The picture on the right is already starting to swell, so it's breaking dormancy, and that would be too late for this application. And the application that you put on, it has to be also above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, so a nice day like today would be perfect, but you're putting on a fungicide, either lime sulfur, daconil, or cocide, to control a disease called peach leaf curl. And you're also putting on a dormant or superior spray oil to control scale insects. Now those can be done as two separate sprays, or sometimes you can combine them if you'll read the directions, or they may even tell you have a product that's got it combined. But that's when you would put on those applications at the Dormant Spray. Any later than that would be too late. The next spray is called a PreBloom Spray. It's actually when the flower buds begin to show pink, and we have a picture of that again on peaches in the same family there. At this time, you're actually putting on a preventative fungicide to control black knot, brown rot, peach scab, and again at this stage it's too late to control peach leaf curl. You only have that one shot to control it. The fungicides you'd use would be Topsin, Captan, Funginex, Daconil, Benlate, just to mention a few. And again, you have to read the directions to know which one controls which disease. The next spray would be the Bloom Spray, and this is about when a quarter of the blossoms are open. Now remember, all the blossoms don't open at the same time, so you want about a quarter of them to be in full bloom, and that's the picture here that you see. And it's basically a repeat spray of what you just put on to control diseases, and you're not applying an insecticide at this stage, because obviously if it's in full bloom, you're going to also discourage the bees and you may not get any pollination. Your next spray is a petal fall spray. This is when most of the petals from the flowers have fallen, and this also is a repeat spray for diseases. And here's when you add an insecticide, usually malathion, for control of plum curculio. Your next spray would be a shuck spray. This one is 10 days later, but when the flower shuck is still on the baby fruit and it's just starting to shuck off or release. And you'll see a picture showing that where the flower is actually starting to shuck off or fall off the baby fruit as it matures. If you wait till the shucks already come off, it's too late for this particular spray. Again, it was about 10 days later than the petal fall spray. You're basically repeating your disease spray again and controlling insects, this time not only the plum curculio, but the oriental fruit moth, and then you can add 7 insecticide at this stage. Then about 10 days later, we have what is called our first and second cover sprays. This is done 10 days later, and then 10 days after that for disease and insect using the same sprays. And this is pretty much when your fruit is really starting to mature and size up on you. Then every 14 days throughout the summer are what are called summer sprays, again primarily for disease, brown rot, and insect oriental fruit moth. And then right as your fruit is beginning to ripen There's what is called a pre-harvest spray. It's applied 2 weeks before harvest, and then a second one about 1 week before harvest. And this is for a fungicide spray of brown rot disease. Now obviously, if you know anything about these kinds of fruits, we harvest the fruits anywhere from July to September, and there can be as many as 10 to 12 sprays on these fruit trees. So if you don't want to spray that much to get good fruit, try to use varieties that are resistant to disease or tolerant. Do good sanitation practices. In other words, when the leaves and fruit drop off or get disease, clean them up, get them out of there so they don't reinfect. And also monitor your weather. If it's dry during the times of some of these disease infections, you can actually omit some of the sprays, such as your Shush Spray, your first and second cover crop, and your summer sprays. You actually can omit those if we have dry conditions. Remember, most of the disease is like cool, moist conditions with a lot of humidity. And last year was perfect conditions, and that's why we had so many disease problems. Now, if you omit those sprays, you still need to probably come back with the last 2 sprays right before harvest for the brown rot again, just to make sure you don't get that. But also know the history of your trees. Have you had insects or disease problems in the past? If you've never had some of these diseases, there's no need to really spray unless you've had a history of it. So know what your problems are. Make sure you're getting the pest problem identified appropriately. And with this many chemicals, there are some options or alternatives to some that are considered organic or natural, like some of the dormant oils or the lime sulfur are actually considered a natural product. And I think lastly is just don't expect picture perfect fruit. We learn to expect that when we go to the grocery store. And to get picture perfect fruit in Oklahoma, you have to do some spraying as a general rule. So if you get a little bit of scab problems or abrasions or whatever, it can, you can cut it out, peel it off, it's still edible and it's going to taste just as good. So just maybe lower your expectations of what the fruit should look like. And hopefully these kinds of diagrams and pictures will remind you of the crucial timing and importance of spraying. If you miss it just a little bit one way or the other, you may have the disease or insect problem. So it's not 100%. And to add a little bit more to it, usually when we're out spraying, we're getting all of our spring rain. So you may spray and it washes it off. So therefore you may have to put another application on or time it according to the rainfalls. And don't forget, if you need more information, I know this was covered pretty quickly, you can purchase the handbooks from the county office or get the fact sheet. And this particular fact sheet is being updated right now as we speak and may not be available for another several weeks, which would be more timing with some of the sprays. But there's plenty of information out there, even your garden centers, or just reading the labels on the pesticide containers will help you get accurate information to help you better control your insect and disease problems on your peaches, nectarines, plums, and apricots.